So every time I text him, like,
I'm your keeper of your personal reminders.
All right. You're going to be like, you're just going to get a text saying, buy 2 cans of, just 2 cans of ice.
Buy things. All right.
My entire grocery list.
Hello, and welcome to this podcast about Francisco's shopping grocery list.
Hi, everybody.
No, this is the Tilted Roll podcast. My name is Marshall.
And I'm Francisco.
And this is episode 14, I think.
Yeah. Man, we're getting there. Ooh.
Hair's getting in my nose. This is a good start.
The hair is getting in your nose.
I said at.
At. Okay.
Getting at my, because it was rubbing. It was on the filter, and then it was rubbing my nose. It was a sneeze waiting to happen. It's like the feather. It's like the.
Ooh. But yeah.
We're off to a hot start.
Yeah, exciting things are happening in the D&D community. I just want to briefly mention this. Critical Role, the Kickstarter.
Oh, yes. That's right. I saw it this morning.
It's over 1,051% funded.
Yep, they have completed every single goal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a 10-episode series.
Pretty much. And I'm super hyped for it.
It sounds really good. That's going to be really cool.
And
I feel really good for them.
I think they still have like a little under 2 weeks left in the Kickstarter.
Well, let's see. As at the time of this recording,
mm-hmm.
they haven't added any other tiers.
That's
so
true.
Obviously they could make more money, but I don't know if they're going to add any tiers between now and then.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, just because true. It is only 2 weeks as well. Like, they have to get started somewhere, and if they keep adding like more and more and more and more and more, it's potentially that's when you start to dilute things.
That's true.
So, although it depends on what they are. Like, they could be things that mean nothing to production, but maybe are marketing things or post-production things, stuff like that.
That would be nice. But yeah, I just wanted to briefly mention that because
yes.
Congratulations, Critical Role. You guys are doing great.
Yeah. So yes, that's really cool. Other more exciting things. They have teased the start of a new book.
Oh, yes. Oh, there's
more. Book. We want more.
Yes. So besides Ghost of Saltmarsh, which is coming out this May. Yes, this May. Mm-hmm. We're getting a new book, this time based out of Acquisitions Incorporated.
Well, they announced something else, though, first.
Did they?
You were just telling me about it.
No, it's just Acquisitions. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So they didn't announce this first. They announced this later. Yes,
I know. We're going to get to that, though.
Okay, so yeah.
We'll get to the Acquisitions Incorporated next. That's going to be the brunt of this podcast.
Let's put a vocal sword in that one. And so the newest thing that they announced is similar to the Stream of Many Eyes that they did last year for the Waterdeep adventure.
Okay, yeah.
They're doing one called The Descent. I could say it now. The Descent in May.
What do you mean by you can say it now?
Were
you locked under an NDA?
No, my mouth physically could not pronounce the word, and you've seen it happen.
Oh,
you know this happens to me all the time, right now.
Yeah. I can say words.
Yeah, I have to stop, reset my mind, and
the brain has to collect thoughts.
I buffer in real time.
But yes, The Descent.
Yes, The Descent. It's going to be a 3-day event, pretty much convention. They're going to have a live set, cosplay, all that. It's going to be primarily AL adventures, but they're going to have some celebrities there to do some actual story-wise to show how the new adventure is.
Right, especially because obviously anything that is available in AL is always translatable. You could just take it and do whatever. You could put it into your story or whatever you see fit.
Yeah, one thing people don't realize is that
it's not like they're like the D&D gods, like
mm-hmm.
Chris Perkins. Just like it's like you're using an AL. Are you using an AL adventure in this campaign? Just smites you.
That would be Mike. That would be Mike Merles. He's more into that. But yeah, quick little tip. If you want to add a little extra to your adventure and you don't feel like writing, look through AL adventures. Those are always fun. Yeah. Well, yeah, so they're doing that. We could still go if you have $300 to spend on a ticket.
Man, I only pretty much spent about $300 yesterday on camera equipment.
I'm so proud of you. All right, but yeah, it's $300 for the ticket, and that's not including the hotel and plane. So I think it's within our budget.
Yeah, sure. That budget we don't have.
But yes, it's super exciting. As Todd Hendrick, I think that's his name, Todd Kendrick. My bad. I apologize, Todd, if you ever watch this in the near future. As Todd Kendrick said, this is truly the golden age of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, it is. It has been a good time, and I think this only really shows that. But yeah, so that's really cool that they're coming out with that. Well, obviously, we can't talk too much about it because we just don't know what it actually is going to have.
Right.
Like this could have to do with Ghost of Saltmarsh. This also could not. We don't know. There's no info outside of the fact of what it's called, and that's about it.
Excuse me. But yeah, so going back, like backtracking a little bit
to go forward.
Yep. You mentioned Chris Perkins.
Sometimes you have to go back to go forward.
So Wizards of the Coast, in collaboration with Penny Arcade.
Yeah, the people that run PAX.
Pretty much.
That thing called the Penny Arcade Expo. What? Oh my God. I didn't know that's what it meant.
That was Roman for peace. But yeah, they are now collaborating on this new book called Simply Acquisitions Incorporated. For all those not in the know, 12 years ago, I want to say, Acquisitions Incorporated was started to showcase 4th edition D&D to the greater web audience, as they're taking advantage.
People hated it.
Pretty much. But
it's a sad joke, but true.
Yeah. It started out with 4 players and one very unknown DM. I think his name was Chris Perkins. I don't know what he's doing now, but this joke would resonate more if we didn't name drop him earlier in the podcast. But yeah, so Chris Perkins DM'd the Acquisitions Incorporated, which had Tycho Braun, the other guy who plays Jim Dark Magic, whose name is eluding me right now. But a lot of the memorable characters here have been growing over these last 12 years. And now they finally get their own book. Now that Acquisitions Incorporated has branched off into to have its own little side show too, which is better than the original show, which is the C Team. They'll tell you that too every single time. It's a better show. But now they have this overarching lore that fits nicely with the Forgotten Realms. In this world, Waterdeep has a mech that you can ride around, and that's how they saved it.
I mean, who wouldn't want to save Waterdeep with a mech? I mean, come on, it's just basics, really. Like, I don't really know what type of campaigns you're running that you're not going to save Waterdeep with a mech. Mm-hmm. Especially because we're running a sci-fi campaign. We could go at that moment at just a drop of a hat.
That's true. It's like we have this giant Megazord. Oh, sorry, copyright. We have this giant
this Megabot.
I think that's a copyright too.
No, I don't think so.
It's somewhere. I'm gonna find that third brand.
I mean, I feel like they're not gonna have the legal power then likely to provide us anyway.
Oh, you never know. YouTube. Don't do it.
Don't content strike us on copy strike us on Megabot.
But yeah, this is very exciting because it offers a lot of new few player options. It does have an adventure inside of it, and it's a 224-page book, so it's pretty there. Part of it, what I saw, is that they have ranks. If you're a part of the organization, you get ranks. So like a Documancer, and other ones.
Classic things that are important to the bureaucracy of D&D.
Pretty much decisionist.
So yeah, I was to say let's somewhat back it up and let's somewhat go into this kind of more piece by piece. And one of the things obviously that I think is really important is understanding kind of like, because like you talked about like with the origins of what Acquisitions Incorporated is, but let's talk about kind of like what is kind of more the thematic aspect that Acquisitions Incorporated kind of runs on. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's somewhat, the title itself has a very telling part to it, which is that it is Acquisitions Incorporated. So obviously, as we mentioned with like kind of like with the jobs, I guess you could say, is that there is very much the incorporated bureaucracy aspect to who they are.
Oh man.
And that obviously, that seems, anybody who knows what bureaucracy is would immediately be like, What? Why would I want that? But it's because they do it in a very creative way.
They do.
They're smarter than you think.
Let's see. They've had branch offices in the storyline. They've had branch offices that have been burned down by cultists.
Yes.
Another fun thing that Acquisitions Incorporated do since they started out as kind of like showcase of what 4th edition did. As 5th edition came out, they started showing out the story of the year essentially. So they eventually got to, Rise of the Dragon Queen. They did that. They did Princess of the Apocalypse, I believe. They did. I know they did Tomb of Annihilation to great extreme because they turned into children and almost died several times.
Good.
Yes, and they were definitely in Waterdeep. Definitely not robbing a bank.
No.
And definitely not.
Look, the book is called Dragon Heist, okay? That's
true.
All right, so let's talk then about, so obviously as we mentioned, so like the idea of Acquisitions Incorporated, like it's not like, this book is not about you becoming characters that are just going to go become clerks or like be accountants, Well, I mean, you always could be. There's nothing stopping you if you want to do that.
That's true.
But, it's not like that's what all the book is. So obviously, Acquisitions Incorporated is often kind of used as just more of this overarching kind of being, if you will. Whereas then you are still adventurers.
Right.
But it does lead to certain options and that they're likely going to be putting into that. So now they have kind of, like you mentioned.
Yep.
Now let's start talking about the archetypal classes.
Yes.
So now you just mentioned it, but I already forgot what it was you said.
The Documancer.
Yes. So obviously, like what they're kind of looking at is certain things that, really it's just like who better to sort through documents and paperwork than the Documancer.
Right. Level 1, 2, or 3.
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. Like these are just adding into player options. I mean, you might as well commit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously this leads into plenty of options that you could run into. Like it's not just it's not just you turning into secretaries and bureaucrats.
No, you turn into secretaries and bureaucrats that go out in the field and then try to survive. In the book, they mentioned that you can play as whatever you can play. However you want to play, which is the core essence of D&D. Yes. But they're like, do you want to try making your branch the best branch out there? And it's pretty resonant to what the two shows are doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, so like a big thing about this is more of just like, while you are kind of, your parent organization obviously is Acquisitions Incorporated. It's just the more of the concept. So again, like you're not role playing, just doing paperwork. Think of it as like, and we've joked about this a lot as being in our modern campaign setting, but essentially you are OSHA and you are going to deal with violations that are out there. It's very close to that.
And it's a lot of fun.
Or MOSHA, as we call it, magical OSHA.
Yep.
But it's very close to really what you're doing. And this just kind of gives you extra tools to use that in the realm of D&D.
Which is always a lot of fun. And
yes,
in this, by doing this, they've canonized Chris Perkins as a as a character in the Forgotten Realms.
Why has it taken this long?
They've also canonized the character of WWE superstar Xavier Woods, who's been joining the Acquisitions Incorporated team lately. Also, they're in Ravnica.
Yeah,
they got teleported there, and now one of the members is purple.
You know what happens.
Yes, it happens.
So let's talk about. So they talk about the 8. They've told what the 8 roles are. So the 4 most familiar ones to anybody who is familiar with the Acquisitions Incorporated stuff. Obviously, for anybody that doesn't know, this is just your first time hearing these. But there are the cartographer. Even I can't say words apparently. Cartographer, decisionist, the documancer, and a horde person. So they will be making their return into this book. But they're also going to be added by a loremonger, an obviator, which I'm not fully sure what that means, an occultant, and the secretarian, which I feel like we can somewhat guess what the secretarian is going to be. That one is a little more obvious. And that's what I'm curious about is the obviator what it sounds like, or is it something close?
I mean, is it obvious?
I starting. I think that entire class is all about just like the obvious and pointing out the obvious. It is going to lead to some of the most annoying characters that are amazing.
Now you all know my first character.
Oh, great! I know where you're going.
Yes, and
That's
also
never good.
So we have those. I believe they're not like classes in and of themselves. They're just little archetypes that you add on, like feats.
So they label these as obviously like roles and archetypes. So they don't label these as classes, and based on kind of the image of the book that they show, in the images, it looks like you're essentially based on rank. So they show the image for the occultant. So like at rank 1, you get certain proficiencies, you can get certain starting equipment, and you get a skill called Read the Kill, which I can only read part of. It says you're occultant abacus. Why do you have an abacus? You're at rank 1. Your occultant abacus not only tracks your franchise's kills, it helps you determine the image of those kills the image of those kills on the franchise's fate over a period, I'm assuming, of 1 minute, because it's just minute. I just see per and then minute because it cuts off.
Right.
You can study a creature killed by blank your franchise within the last 24 hours. So I would say killed by your franchise or someone in your franchise within the last 24 hours.
I think there might be backgrounds they might be doing this, just like escalating.
They almost kind of, in a way, they seem to act a lot because you get proficiencies in certain things. So they look like backgrounds, but they also kind of are a hybrid between like prestige classes and backgrounds. Like that's what because like they have ranks. Backgrounds don't have ranks. So like clearly the way that they're looking at it is almost like a combination between a background and a prestige class. So like you can get the better you get at your job, you get promoted. Seemingly looks like it's going to be the case. They don't go too much because they mention here in this article like gains a few bonus tools at rank 1. Let's see. So this extra progression independent of your class sounds like an interesting twist on the standard faction ranks as presented in books like DMG, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Like in those two books. So because those Dragon Heist and the DMG mention things like faction ranks, so it's kind of like that.
Oh, he heard it.
I was reading the article.
That's true. It might go off of what AL is too, because AL has its own little separate faction thing.
Very
too.
Potential.
Yeah. So like a certain amount of kills, a certain amount of renown, and then you get to do certain ranks.
And depending on your position or in your franchise, you can actually get access to new spells. So that sounds like fun.
Ooh.
What was that? Audience?
Yes. Our live studio audience. Thank you, John.
So it's essentially, it is faction ranks. I just wasn't sure if it's based on because I never really used the faction rank system that was presented in the DMG, nor do I really ever look at it too hardly. And
the only time I dealt with it,
and I don't have the Dragon Heist book.
I hear you. The only time I had to deal with it was in actually Adventures League, and it's a lot of fun because that's how I got a +1 shield.
I don't play AL as much either, so you would have more familiarity in that realm.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. +1 shield and my Slippers of Spyro Clan were courtesy of my faction rank.
Hey, there you go.
I'm a Viper Centaurum. But let's talk about the.
I'm a Viper Centaurum.
Respect me.
So yes, let's talk about the actually obviously a good character-based edition.
Yes. Are we talking about the race edition?
Yes.
Oh man.
New race.
This is the thing that has me the most excited in more ways than one.
Yeah,
Marshall, if you will.
Here, let me find. I want to find the exact quote, which is so the race is called the Verdun or the Verdan. I don't know what the exact pronunciation is going to be. I would say Verdun because that sounds better than Dan. Anything that has Dan in the name, I just think of anybody named Dan, and I know good Dans, but doesn't sound very fantasy related.
Yeah, screw you, Dan.
You're not in Lord of the Rings. You don't deserve to be in D&D either. I'm just kidding.
This is a great Dark Lord.
I'm just going to read the sentence from the article because it makes me laugh. The nomadic and mysterious Verdun are a new race that they tongue-in-cheek pitched to D&D managing editor Jeremy Crawford as sexy goblins and have unique powers of adaptation and evolution. So yes, we will have sexy goblins. if you didn't get enough in Goblin Slayer, now you can get sexy goblins to throw them off.
So my first character is gonna be a Verdan ovulator.
See, what I'm unsure of based on this image, and partly makes me uncomfortable, I'll be honest, is the they seeming to have a size range here. They have a very short, I'm assuming everybody in this picture in this article is a Verdan, and they are either both housing a child, in which case I would never want to call the child version of this a sexy goblin. Really, having those next to each other is a little uncomfortable. It's a little awkward.
Well, I don't remember.
See sexy goblin, and then they show a kid.
I think it's in the...
okay, let's careful here.
I think it's in the C Team where they introduced the first one.
Yes, and they mentioned that.
Yes.
It was in season 2 of the C Team. They introduced this race.
It's a good season. Definitely go watch it. It's a better show.
We're back to that again.
It's still running jokes, so I'm only going to piggyback off of it.
Fine. Sure. It's all right.
Yep. And funny enough, just a little fun fact, the members of Dice Camera Action have rarely made appearances on these, and they coexist in the same timeline.
Yeah.
So that's always fun to see those crossovers. Episode 100 of DCA was a major crossover.
Yep,
with a certain overlord of the house.
Oh, certain overlord.
Mm-hmm. Because there's so many.
All right. Yeah, all those overlords that are just hanging around.
Right.
In a way that's true, but actually, well, I won't get into that.
That's another video.
Well, it's just more of, it depends on, I guess, how many books you want to cross over with each other. I'm going to run a campaign that's every adventure book.
You mean Dice Camera Action right now?
Shut up. Yes, that, and as our illustrious audience member raised his hand for the 1933 campaign they were currently... Oh, what year is it again? 1936? Yeah.
So we can't call it the 1920s anymore.
No, it is the 1930s. And we're getting close to 1940.
Yep.
We're getting closer and closer.
Everybody who's catching on to the year similarities, get ready, because we're not.
Yeah, my character's got an M1 Garand, because that came out in that year.
That's true. I have a Titan revolver.
And that's been out for a while.
And a demonic version of myself. But yes.
Yeah, All right. So they are going to obviously bringing different player options. Can you close the door a little bit there? Thank you. As much as I love the sound of the running toilet, it didn't have to be all the way. But
no, it could have been. We could have just said it was a fountain.
Nah, I'm gonna go with a no on that one. That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Okay.
But yeah, so obviously this is not just a player-related book. The first features we talked about are obviously player-related, but DMs will also have plenty of use out of this book. As it's going to be, how long did you say this book was supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a 224-page book. So there's content in this book. It's not a pamphlet that you're gonna be handed.
Like, well, what book would be like that? I don't know. The Schmord Most Berventer died. I think it rhymes with that. I don't know. Something that doesn't feel like it's worth the money that is? I
don't know. What's that one elemental book?
Small shade. At least that one is free.
That's true, yeah.
I'm not counting Elemental Evil. That's free. Anything that's free, I don't care how long it is. It was free. It could be a sentence. I don't care. I didn't pay anything for it. But you pay for the Sword Coast Adventure Guide, and you get maybe a one background's worth of stuff in it that's worth anything.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
You get tiefling guides that they also then pretty much gave you replacement options for in a later book.
Pretty much. I'm sorry. My mind keeps going back to the one sentence in the Elemental Evil that says you can bang genies.
There's something about the way that sounded in my headphones that I just really like the way you're just like, bang genies. It just had a really ASMR vibe to it, and it just was weird.
Perfect. I'll try to encapsulate that. But yeah, so new book. I'm excited. DMs are going to have some tools inside of it.
Yes. So let's see. We'll kind of try to briefly skim over here. Obviously we look at these in advance, but then a lot of things happen in the week.
Oh yeah.
So I don't remember every single word of this article. So obviously spare me a moment to double check some of to actually get to the goose that is in here.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, while he's looking at this, thank you again to Lake Geneva Games for letting us record your location. Lake Geneva Games.
They don't make us do this, by the way.
Lake Geneva Games. We still don't have a catchphrase for you, but hey, you're a great place.
Okay, so obviously, they're going to seemingly have a small adventure in it.
Yes.
But it's essentially, as they put it, this adventure is more than an introduction. It's a full-blown mini campaign.
Oh.
So it looks like that's going to be a good kind of chunk of or at least I wouldn't say it's going to be a big chunk of the book, but at least it's going to be the book is going to have some solid chunks in it of use. So that's always really good. If they don't just kind of give you this half-assed adventure.
Pretty much. To put it bluntly, I think a lot of love and care is going into this book because,
especially also apparently a lot of those shows you like to watch are gonna have a lot of cameos.
Yes.
Fan favorite characters and monsters from the history of Acquisitions Incorporated.
I just want Viari. That's all I want. Patrick Ruffith, man.
So they threw me off initially. They were saying they hope for things like Strix and Evelyn.
Right.
But they do. That is not confirmed. Whether or not the A or C teams will be shown is also unconfirmed.
Oh.
But they have noted apparently that they will have some.
Okay.
They don't know what from exactly. They have not made any confirmation of, but there will be fan favorite cameos and the like. I would love to see Strix as an NPC.
That would be hilarious, and I would be very interested to see how the DM does that. If either they're going to try to go for the dysfunctional
you don't
witch.
even have to debatably, you don't even have to role play. You just have to be she throws her pies and runs away screaming.
Right. It's either she throws her pies or she throws a fireball at you and you all die.
It depends.
Yeah.
If she just doesn't want to talk to you, if you're just on the street, you don't look like you're evil, and she just doesn't want to talk to you, then she'll run away.
Pretty much.
If you look like if you're running an evil campaign, then she will throw a fireball at you.
We see John nodding his head yes, that is exactly what I would do.
That's something that would be an interesting thing to talk about at one point. Would be the idea of the evil campaign. Is it as good as it sounds?
Tune in next time.
Again, off camera. The big shake of the head, no. There's a lot of depending, and that's why it would make a great topic for the future.
Exactly.
We'll write it in the notebook.
Oh, man. But yes, Acquisitions Incorporated. I'm super excited for this book.
Yes, it is going to be really interesting. There's no pricing knowledge, obviously. I would imagine it's going to be relatively around that $50 spectrum.
Yeah, they actually release pre-orders. So you can pre-order it on the Penny Arcade website for $49. So the regular
essentially
book release price.
Yeah. And then
it's not
and
Amazon.
Then they will be those are going to things like that are going to be delayed, as well as you will be able to you will be able to pre-order on things like D&D Beyond. Seemingly now, actually, because it was on April 1st. So this came out late March. So and April 1st. So actually now you can also pre-order on D&D Beyond, and I am kind of also looking to see if it's here, and there it is. So yes, it is already on here.
That's how we know it's not an April Fool's joke, thankfully.
Well, yeah, the best April Fool's jokes are the ones that you start early, like the Tinder one.
That's
that everybody got really mad at, even though it's very clearly an April Fool's joke. Weird, they made this new update about height 3 days before April Fool's Day. No way it could be an April Fool's joke. But this was luckily not an April Fool's joke. And that's going to be it for our time.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you look at that? Time flies.
I know, right? Oh, man, Acquisitions Incorporated. It's a really great show. It's all just podcasts, and the live shows are hilarious. Definitely go watch it.
But you can also watch our content.
Yes, our content first.
Don't forget.
Yes.
You can also watch all of our content, which all of our VODs for Dark Matter have been coming up. Within a couple weeks, we will also be unveiling a new show.
It's been so much fun.
So that's going to start to be very exciting.
I wonder who's doing the new show.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's not me. I'm already done with this one.
John, put your hand down.
No! I worked for this! You will not take this from me! Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out our playlist with all of our other podcasts at the end of the year. Or actually, I use these as clickouts, so it's going to be below us here. So, check those out.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.